a production of the Mesa Chamber of Commerce. Visit us at mesachamber.org.
So as we launched this committee kind of with a pre-meeting last month, we kind of wanted to gather our first official meeting together and give you guys a chance to kind of talk about some of the issues and some of the things that may affect you as technology companies and some of the things that you're interested in engaging with, whether it be at the local level or beyond. And that will kind of drive our ability to provide the programming that, to be honest, keeps you interested, keeps you engaged, and keeps giving you value for your participation. So our chair for this committee is Joel Ray. I'll let Joel introduce himself and go ahead and take it from here.
Sure. Thanks, Bob. Joel Ray. I'm with Landstar. We are an IT support and a managed service provider here in Mesa. We cover the valley-wide. We provide IT support services for the small and medium-sized businesses, mid-market businesses. Welcome, everyone. I guess I'll get started. I'll try to navigate through this meeting. I feel like we're still kind of feeling out what we can do as a council and how we can, help the community. So I guess let's get started. We've got three items on the agenda, and I'll throw them in the chat. I'll throw them in the chat room one at a time here, and I'll just kind of open it up. So the first question is, what are the business priorities your organization that you feel the chamber can provide for you? I kind of took a first stab at some of these, and my initial thoughts, are, at least for me and my business, just getting out and meeting other businesses. We've been in the Mesa Chamber for a number of years. We probably haven't engaged with the chamber in a way that, we probably could benefit more if we did that. So just from my standpoint, engaging with other businesses, I think is a good start, for at least for my business. So if I could open it up and if I could get thoughts from various individuals.
If you don't mind me jumping in right from the get-go as well, I'm going to throw things out there. So don't mind me from a little phrase.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. One thing I've definitely noticed is that a lot of businesses in the Mesa area will look towards the Mesa Chamber for information, kind of what's happening, what's the newest update, or what kind of requirements are kind of happening in the area. So I know for my business, I'm a fairly newer business, but I'm in and out of other businesses often. So just kind of continuing that, what you've already been doing, but staying up on top of the new information that's always changing and always kind of happening. Just kind of keep doing what you're doing, but then see if there's any new ways or new information or new things that are happening that we should all.
So just so everybody knows, I am taking notes as you guys are having this conversation, so that we can kind of take that back and we'll decide on future programming. So just,
Perfect.
So how about the new kid in town, Mr. Pinholster?
Yeah, I was just about to jump in. So obviously our interaction with the technology businesses in East Mesa and the East Valley is sort of a reverse of the normal interaction here, because what we're looking to do is make connections with businesses for workforce development and research and creative projects, and talent recruiting, all sorts of stuff. So I have a building full of senior level undergraduate and graduate students that are going to be working in all types of emerging media technologies. I know this goes for Diane as well, in terms of, and different populations, different skill sets that we're interested in making connections to. So for me, the thing the chamber can be doing is matchmaking our resource with businesses who are looking to work with students and faculty on creative projects, on community-based projects would be huge. Like if there was a public impact project that a business wanted to work on, that would be something we'd really be interested in, or on research projects for technology development or use case development, beta testing, et cetera, et cetera. So essentially anything you can think of connecting with the design and engineering schools at a research university for. That's what we'd like to have, referrals and connections and network development occur.
Very good. Yeah, I know we could benefit from some of that. We've talked about or discussed having interns for the summer, and it's one of those things that we just haven't pulled the trigger on. So it seems like that could be something that you could facilitate with or help with. Very good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's all very strong feedback. Certainly for us as your chamber to integrate that. In addition to that, let me, if I may, just kind of twist it just a touch, because we're going to do everything that we can to represent each of you to the best of our ability. But how can we use this sort of gathering each month to really leverage things that you want to achieve or move towards? Because some of this feedback is more specific to us as a chamber to go back and take care of outside necessarily the scope of this event. But I think, I think in like Jake's case, if there's an outstanding project that can be engaged with, this would be a good forum to present that idea to. So let me just kind of, if I may, shade that or shift that just a little bit and just see, is there anything that you think this forum can represent as an opportunity for you guys to engage with on a regular basis? And if you're good, well, I'll just kick Joel on to question 2.
I was just going to add, I feel like we talked about this a little bit last time, but there's probably going to be a couple different perspectives here. I think, there's the one side, which is like the networking or, business to business type opportunities in the technology space. Whereas for, organizations like us, I think we're also looking at this forum as an opportunity to discuss things related to like workforce development and, getting that talent pipeline into, not only our data center, but we have lots of other new peers in the area. So, I think finding a way for us to balance those different perspectives and kind of categorize the work that this council will be doing would be useful.
Cool.
Perfect.
And
Thank
I
you.
know Diane and I had talked offline, as we often do, about ways to engage. I think the elephant in the room is workforce development. So I think that goes kind of without saying for pretty much everybody on the call. So I think we have a tentative plan for next month to at least start with the Maricopa IT Institute to present some of their workforce programs and kind of some of what they're doing, and to start that process of connection and communication in regards to bridging those two worlds. Because I think here in Mesa, that's going to be a huge opportunity for us to elevate the rest of the community and sort of bring everybody into the digital, sort of the digital economy as Diane and I kind of coin it together. So Joel, what do you got for question 2?
Okay, so what are your thoughts on how tech community can support Mesa's small business community?
So if I may,
Go ahead.
let me kind of throw a little bit of baseline out on this. So right now, as a chamber, we're engaged with the city of Mesa in the small business development program. We partner with MCC through Diane, and we partner with Dan Baker through Golden Goose to provide a lot of technological training and technological support for small businesses. But I think there's an opportunity for all of us as sort of, well, not necessarily me, but you guys, as sort of the technology leaders of our community to kind of, is there some way that you guys see that we can engage that and elevate our small business community further?
Yeah, I'll jump in here just from my macro view, Bob. So we do a lot of things for our customers around education, and lately it's been around cybersecurity and security awareness. The last several years we've seen a big increase in that type of activity. So I think getting information out to the small business community around that particular area could be beneficial.
Hey, Bob, I'll throw out, I think for us, it would be understanding what are some of the needs already that are being filled by like Mesa Community College or Diane's group around working with business owners, nonprofits. Is it kind of that entry level, this is how you set up, you know, a website or a web page or a Facebook page? Or is it, how do you actually leverage all these other existing programs that are out there and take your business to the next level? So I think that would be helpful to understand so that this group can make those types of decisions more strategically.
And I would say, David, it's both because, and we've convened the small businesses a few times, right, Bob, to say, what are your needs? You know, what are the problems? What can elevate your business to the next level? Interestingly enough, some of them are learning for a side business. You know, their business is fine, but now they're going to start a side business and they really need the digital tools to do that. So we've collected a lot of data. From the data, we've developed courses for them. And they do a lot of networking together when they're in the class. They're a really fun group. Each group has different makeup, but they'll tell you what they need for sure. So if we want to keep surveying them and collecting that data for you, we absolutely can do that.
And I think just to dovetail, just to touch on that, David, I know that we're engaged with the city in a survey that they want to do around their co-working space that they're incorporating into the new building that they're putting up. So we'll have some additional data from that. Plus, I just actually finished our survey, our annual survey that we're going to do of membership, which is heavily focused on how do you feel about your state of technology? How do you feel about your comfort with the changes that are happening with technology? And if there are areas that we can engage you, where would those be? Because, you know, obviously as a chamber, we need to stay on top of where we can be most useful to our membership. So, you know, whether that is you guys as a group or the flower shop on the corner or anybody else, right? So over time, we'll definitely have data flowing into this committee that hopefully can give you some awareness and then some activity to act on. So.
Bob, is the city building you're referring to the studios building? That's
yeah, the studios building.
Okay,
I know. Sure. I literally just exchanged emails with Jay because it actually came up on the retail committee meeting this morning. Somebody wanted information on the studio space, which isn't apparently going to be ready till November for sure. But some parts of it are I guess, are getting activated next month to do some hosting some meetings and stuff. So. So that's happening. And I think that's another piece of this puzzle for you guys. I know a lot of you guys aren't necessarily here in Mesa all the time. So part of this committee is to keep you in the know in terms of what's happening when you can't be here. So there's a ton of co-working space that's planning to open here in downtown Mesa over the next 18 months. And so, you know, it's obviously helpful to you guys to know what those trends are and what's happening with that, so that you can engage or you know, find ways that you can contribute to that. So yeah, Peter.
Yeah, thank you. I was a little late. I was at the Mesa Education and Workforce Development Board meeting. So sorry about that. But I don't know if these meetings have been happening prior to this, or is this the first meeting?
This is like the first official meeting. We kind of had a pre-secret meeting of secret people before.
Oh, okay, got it. Well, I'm happy to be here. I know some folks in the room. I know Jake pretty well, and so I just figured I'd give a little background about ourselves and ways that we can support. So we initially were a software development company focused on AR and VR development. And we've provided a lot of consulting, a lot of different kind of tech road mapping for companies. But since the pandemic, we really shifted our focus towards workforce development. And so what we've done is built we call it a just-in-time training platform that is available on like an iPad or like any type of mobile device. And really what we're looking to do is empower the worker, empower employees in order to reduce their downtime and faster train workers. But ultimately, our mission as a company is to increase access to higher skilled jobs. And so part of the ways that I can see ourselves contributing into the community, which is something that we really enjoy doing because we've been in downtown for many years, is first of all being able to help a lot of these small and medium sized businesses, primarily in manufacturing or in any place where you need these kind of hands-on learners. Essentially, our mission, we have some amazing technology folks at our company that worked at NASA and other large companies. We're training anyone to do anything. That's really our, we love technology and we love to do it for good. And so we know that we can help take entry-level workers and basically train them on the job and get them to a $25 an hour position within relatively a small amount of time. We're even right now working on a pilot to provide certifications and micro-certifications in Industry 4.0 technology that's backed by the Department of Labor, where somebody could get all of these types of certifications actually at the workplace without having to go through a lot of the barriers that exist in the public education system. So in that way, I know that we can help the community just in kind of adopting tech and getting skilled workers, but just also not even as like a paid service. We would be more than happy to connect other people with other folks that are doing a lot of this kind of tech roadmap consulting, getting the very basics of technology integrated into their workspace. I think there's going to be a big change happening over the next decade, and I kind of look at it when when companies started adopting the computer. There was a lot of changes that happened in the office, and there was a lot of people that probably fell behind because they didn't have those resources available. So any way that we can help the businesses succeed by adopting, whatever modern technology, we'd love to be of any assistance in that space. And so you can count on us in kind of anywhere in that realm. So.
Thanks, Peter. That kind of actually segues into, I think, Joel's third question.
Into what? Sorry, Bob.
Into the next question.
Oh, yep. So, what community initiatives and activities does your business already engage in that the council can amplify across the business community?
So just a little bit of groundwork on that. As many of you have become chamber members, one of the great things is that there are activities and initiatives that you are already engaged in. And in the case of some of you, you've shared those with us to introduce us to some of those individuals and some of those efforts so that we get a better sense of the things that are important to you guys as members. So this is more of a, hey, are there are things you're already doing that maybe we can amplify, or maybe we can, take a hold of with you and make stronger. So that's kind of the nature of that question.
So I guess I'd like to open it up. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? Or what you're doing in your own business that you're helping out?
I'll just add one thought for the group to consider. Not to turn the question back on you, Bob, but if there are avenues for us to insert our perspectives, share our initiatives, etc., I think that's also helpful to understand, because we could just put out a whole list of things out there, but I think understanding where the opportunities for us to share things that can be specific for the group of people that we're reaching. So like the work that Diane does, if you're convening a group of small businesses, then we could definitely have folks come in and talk about getting set up with your iPad or whatever each of our businesses specialty might be, but that would definitely be tailored to the group that we're working with. Whereas, we have plenty of other things where it might not necessarily be relevant for that group. So I think understanding where we ultimately want these initiatives and resources to end up would definitely be helpful as well.
Yeah, and I will say to the group as a whole, I know individuals have certainly felt free to reach out and share some of their projects and the things that they're working on. Please do that. We love hearing about those projects. We love being engaged with the people that are important to you as an organization. For those of you that know anything about the chamber, we don't really call ourselves a chamber of commerce. We kind of call ourselves a chamber of community. So please don't hesitate if there's something that's important to you to share that with us so that we can then, find a way to help you and support you in that. But I think, I think a lot of it will come down to, getting some more information out, like for next month, having Diane tell us about the things that she's doing and how engaged they are at the ground level with businesses that, when they do their 9 to 5 and then they go to their Excel class, or they do their 9 to 5 and they try to hit that beginner computer course so that they can learn that thing that they're going to need to apply the next day when they open up that business again. So, certainly we're very much in tune to that just because of that. But anything basically the question is geared towards anything that's important to you can be important to all of us, and we can all support you on that. So don't ever feel like you can't bring that to us to engage with you on. So any other thoughts on that question?
Yeah, on that note, Bob, just in terms of my interpretation of this question, when you refer to community initiatives and activities in this context, are you thinking about things that are specifically connected to small business and businesses, or just anything in the community whatsoever, like in terms of social impact?
Honestly, anything in the community. So,
Okay.
we've had a number of our partners introduce us to nonprofits that are important to them for various reasons. They meet various missions or whatever it is, and we have a very strong. In the case of nonprofits, we have a very strong nonprofit vitality council that meets every month. We're a chamber that has between 80 and 90 members that are nonprofits. So, we're very much in tune with making sure that we meet those needs. But that's just, of course, one shade of that bigger picture. So, the main thing about that question was to make sure that we didn't start having a discussion about something to do something, but yet your business was already engaged in a different way. So, we want to make sure that everybody feels like they're getting the most value out of that piece.
Would it be worth me sharing a couple of examples of the things that we're doing in terms of community-focused initiatives that we could definitely use partners and collaborators on? Would that be useful
absolutely.
to this group?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a ton of stuff in development, but there's 3 that are sort of ready for prime time that we're talking about actively. The first is this summer we're hosting the inaugural Camp Level Up, which is a co-production with Arizona Autism United, the Mesa Regional Foundation for Accessibility, Diversity, and Inclusion / Visit Mesa, Mesa Arts Center, Mesa Public Schools, and the Abbott Family Foundation. That is essentially a 3-week professional and personal development camp for students grades 6 through 10 that are on the autism spectrum. So folks on the autism spectrum have a terrible employment rate, despite having really the potential to develop really useful professional skills, particularly in the area of technologies. Almost 80% of the people on the autism spectrum as adults who are employed in things like custodial work. And we think there's room for them in the technology sector for sure. So we're working with a company called Endless Studios to essentially host a 3-week game design and development camp. And we could use sponsors, partners for site visits, collaborators on providing technology access, and so on. So there's lots of opportunity there.
Send me an email on that. I already have one for you.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I will follow up. The second one is a project that we're working on in development with a couple of real estate developers in the city directly, called the Future of Mesa, which will be an annual design virtual build studio, which creates a virtual model of the 4 zip codes that surround downtown Mesa, and works to create a connection point between the city and the city's community and organizational and municipal leadership to envision what that part of the city will look like 25 years in the future. So it's always 25 years in the future. So this year we'll be working on 2047. Next year we'll be working on 2048, et cetera. And it's kind of rolling and creating a virtual model of that's both been projection mapped onto a physical model in our building, but then available through virtual and augmented reality applications for people to see. And we'll take on different themes around transportation, sustainability, affordable housing, et cetera. So that's definitely something we're also looking for technology partners on and thinking partners on, and so on. And then the third piece is a partnership we're doing with Spark Youth Media Festival in Mesa Public Schools, called the Spark Youth Media Festival. Partnership we're doing with Mesa Arts Center and Mesa Public Schools called the Spark Youth Media Festival, which will be a biannual festival that's like a film festival in that it's a competitive and sort of professional development opportunity, but will be creative content across the board. So there'll be categories at both high school and college level for film and for podcasts and for short form narrative, interactive narrative, and for video game development. So there'll be sort of a bunch of different categories and a bunch of different opportunities for students to get involved in professional development and education at this festival. We're going to start it in spring 2023 on really more of a local regional focus, but we hope over time to develop it into a national brand. And that's definitely something where we're also looking for partners to provide expert judges, to be somebody who helps with marketing and getting stuff out to schools, to help provide education program in the lead up to the festival in the school year prior, in order to enable more kids to participate, because not everybody has great media technology programs in their schools. So we're trying to, one of our things is our grad students will be working with schools that don't have media arts programs to provide some training and guidance on those things and enriching people's access to those technologies and to those practices. So those are the three that are kind of most active right now, but we'll have tons more as things evolve with our faculty.
Cool.
So I got a question, Bob.
Yeah.
Is there Mesa businesses that are part of the chamber, is there a message board or a question board that they can post up to? How do they reach out to the Mesa Chamber to get information, whether it's from a technology standpoint or some other Mesa Chamber involvement?
So typically, we have one of our staff that is dedicated as basically member benefits, so member services. That person would be available to them, email, phone, so on. There's not a chat room or a digital space necessarily, like a Discord or anything like that, that members would be able to access. I can certainly do a temperature check and see if there would be a demand for an avenue like that, and see where that conversation goes, and then certainly bring that back here to talk about if there is appetite for that, what might be the best way to engage that. So yeah, absolutely.
A big portion of that is sharing what's kind of going on. And I know all of us in the technology industry and fields, there's always new information, new things going on, but sharing what's important to everybody would be extremely important. So I could see how having a Discord community or some sort of space for us to shoot out what we're trying to promote or what things that we care about, so that everybody else can also, jump on and share those topics and things and events that are happening as well. I know that would be a huge benefit to everybody.
So one of the things that's important to us as a chamber is not to create a circumstance where we are fire hosing everybody all the time with everything that's going on. We do have 1,000 members now, which is a lot of members. And, there are members that are more interested in sort of day-to-day stuff, and then members that maybe aren't necessarily as interested in day-to-day stuff. They're interested in some of the higher level stuff. So we're always trying to balance those needs to make sure that our members get the information that is most important, and then they can engage further down the chain based on their interest level in deeper information or more frequent information. So that's why you don't see a lot of emails from us. Specifically, we designed basically the Monday message as your Monday message, the summary of events. You can engage with it at your will or at your leisure. And then if there's anything that's sort of immediate or more important or in between that typically comes either directly from myself or Sally, depending on what that message is. And that's also why you're starting to see our social channels start to become a little bit almost duplicitous. So there is information that is directly from the chamber itself. And then there are infrastructure that we've built that is more to communicate what our members are doing and what our members are engaged with, so that people can make that discerned choice, how engaged they want to be with that communication stream. Because if we over engage people we'll lose them completely from everything. And if we under-engage people, they're not going to feel like they're getting anything from their membership. So, we're constantly looking for that sweet spot where, we can engage everyone at the level that's important to them. So definitely something that we can look at. Did we have one more question, Joel?
We do, and guess the gist of this question is, what other curiosities do you have about the chamber and how it can facilitate bringing in presenters or other content?
So, and I will kick this one off because when we started this committee, the intent was to kind of kick this off with Diane, because she's been a partner with us for many years, and the work that they're doing is been amazing. So I think everybody knows that workforce is the big elephant in the room, and I think we can address that sort of initially. But looking beyond that, what else is of interest to you guys and the organizations that you run that we can engage with here locally in Mesa and sort of bring perspective to for you?
Anybody have any thoughts on this?
I'll throw Dan Baker under the bus because he's been quiet this whole meeting.
I don't know. I want to hear more about these buckhorn baths.
You want a whole meeting dedicated to the buckhorn baths?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Like the history of the buckhorn baths.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All the spring training stuff that happened at the buckhorn baths.
No,
I can make that happen actually if you.
Bob, I'm quiet in these meetings because I don't know what value I provide in this group, from any of that technology council stuff. I don't participate in anything. I keep my head down, just work most of the time. So I wish I had more to offer. I don't. I mean, if people need help and there are services that they need help with that, require marketing efforts or, like online presence efforts, obviously we're there to help with that. But there's nothing that like we're doing that like would speak to like where the council would be able to help us personally, or that we feel that we'd be able to help them. So
you are very kind to yourself, but I will draw out the fact that you guys have been a critical component through the entire, not just the current Mesa Business Builder program, but the Mesa Cares process. And the amount and the number of websites and the amount of support that you have given to small businesses to elevate them beyond just having, one presence that may not be a website has been astonishing. And I think you guys have done a fantastic job of balancing that workload with also running your regular business. So I know you want to be a little humble, but I'm not going to be humble for you. So
I will second that. Dan, you did a great job on the website you did for us. We're very happy.
Oh, see. But what else are you guys curious about? Like, what kinds of things can we look to? So, for example, and let me use an example. One of our other committees, the Mesa Industry and Defense Council, became interested in the idea of human trafficking. So we were able to bring a presenter in that talked specifically about human trafficking, and actually is engaged in human trafficking from a tech standpoint. So, is that something that you guys might be interested in engaging with at some level? Or is there another topic that that either we're already engaged in or we're not engaged in that we can turn around and pivot and work to bring somebody in to share data with you and information with you? So there doesn't have to be an answer. I'm just throwing it. I think the idea was to just start to plant some seeds for future meetings. So.
I posted something here in the chat, and I think it's more to the number 3 that he brought up. So this is a community that we built. We started building it about 5 years ago. It's called Phoenix VR for Good. We normally had monthly meetings at the Tempe History Museum until COVID came, and now it's mainly online. But we're definitely open to having a new venue for that. And I think I'd love to talk to Jake about some opportunities at the studios to host that. But especially now with the conversation of the metaverse, which really hasn't changed anything, but tech-wise, but there's a lot more interest in how these technologies, how people can leverage these technologies. What we address a lot of times are like, what are the implications of these? So there's a lot of security, privacy, data, just even, accessibility. And so we talk about a lot of those topics. And we also invite people. We always want to invite the community to be part of that programming as well. So if there are certain things that you're doing that kind of are in that space, it doesn't necessarily have to be VR, but we'd love to host you, or it's just an open place where people can learn more. That is a venue that we keep open to everybody. So, but kind of going to the fourth question, I think one of the things I was curious about is how are you polling the needs of the members of the chamber, and how can we use that to be helpful in addressing the needs that maybe the members of the chamber have?
So we engage them directly. We will engage them by phone. We will engage them in person. We will engage them by physical mail. We will engage them by email. We will engage them by website. We will engage you on the ground that you want to be engaged with.
We will fight them on the beaches.
On the beaches, in the mountains, yes. No, we're very serious about that interpersonal connection. And that's a very important element of chamber membership, is the ability that the knowledge that you have a person that that you can reach out to in any shape or form and engage with when it comes to what you might need. It's very important to us. It's very important to chambers as a business model. And it's very important in getting honest feedback when the time comes that you need to get honest feedback. So, we work very closely with the city, with the Economic Development Department, to make sure that when they need information from various sources, that we actually can call a person and say, hey, can you help get us this information? And that person will be like, yeah, give me 20 minutes. We'll get you what you need. So our strength comes through the relationship piece. That's what we do, which kind of ties back to the whole idea of we're not a chamber of commerce. We're really a chamber of community, because we're not going to get the information that we need if we're not a part of that community every day. So I don't know if that's quite what you were looking for, Scott, but that kind of gives you I'm sorry, Peter, but that gives you the kind of the deep dive on the philosophy that we have in engaging with our members.
Got it.
One thing
that's really
add, Bob. I sorry to cut in there to emphasize even more on having some sort of a Discord or a forum that people can come and ask what their needs are specifically. People's needs differ and they change as time kind of moves on, especially in the technology field. So it would be great to have a space for people to come and ask the questions that may be specific for their situation, and get the help that is needed right then.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
I think maybe the thing that I was looking at, I don't know if this is under your purview or not, but for example, just even getting the community's feedback on what are the topics that are most relevant to our business, what are the biggest gaps that we have right now, and even holding workshops or having finding a subject matter expert in that space and being able to set up one-on-ones, something along the lines of that because what I've seen, just my experience, is that lots of times when you're just waiting for people to reach out, a lot of people don't know that they can reach out, or maybe there's a way of, there's some anxiety in that space, but being able to basically say, hey, this is what we want to provide for possible programming, and do you guys have, and then people can come in at their kind of what they want to. I guess I've seen that kind of programming work in the past, but just wasn't sure if that was something that is even under your, within what you're supposed to do, or if that's something set up with Econ Dev, or I'm not sure how the chamber functions in that space. So
that's okay. So there is an effort in that space right now, and that is the Econ Dev effort, the hub, which is what they're doing right now to try to build community around that. So that was something that came out of the 2020 CARES money, where they engaged a number of different organizations, us being one of them, to kind of coordinate products and services to support the small business community. When that wound down at the end of 2020, the city decided that there was value in continuing that effort. So it basically is what you described. So it is that community building, content provided library of resources that help small business, and also has the element of one-on-one coaching. So as a small business, you can apply to be a part of that program, and they will assign you hours that will let you go ahead and engage with a counselor, whatever the topic is. So that kind of is the space that they have engaged in, and then we kind of support them in that space through our work with Diane, through our work with Dan Baker, and through our other members that have, basically have specialties in whatever it is that's needed. So.
Okay, awesome. That makes sense. Thanks for clarifying.
I will say one thing on the curiosities standpoint, just related to the example you gave, Bob. One thing that I would love to learn more about, and maybe of interest to the rest of this group, is the Mesa as an autism certified city, and what that means in terms of businesses, hiring practices, anything to do with anything beyond what I know so far, which is that it has to do with training city workers and hospitality workers around the engagement with people on the spectrum. But if there's any other parts of it that I'm not aware of, I'd love to learn more about what that really means when we get down to it.
Yeah. So, and this will kind of feed into the discussion that we can have offline in regards to your project. There is a very strong organization locally, Copa Health, that engages in the autism space very heavily. And I think that they could be a very valuable partner, not just in that, but they're also a valuable partner in that autism effort that was championed by Visit Mesa. So yeah, I mean, that would be kind of the discussion that I would focus on there.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. You guys good?
Any more thoughts?
So I will preview next month's discussion, if I may, Diane. We wanted to give you guys sort of that first meeting to kind of talk about some of the things that were important to you, so that, to be honest, I didn't start organizing meetings with Joel that didn't really engage you or weren't really interesting to you. So I think we've got a good basis of information to work with, and that way, going forward, now we're going to be able to start putting programming in place. The next couple of meetings will be virtual. I think we decided that the first 3 or 4, Joel, if I remember correctly, would be virtual, and then we would go ahead and have a mixer of some sort where we could get everybody together to meet and greet. And then if we wanted to, we could do an alternate, however we want to do this in terms of virtual versus in person. Happy to organize it either way. But next month, we will have Diane Mesa do a presentation on the Maricopa IT Institute and the work that they do in workforce development on so many more fronts than I could even guess at this point. Just insanity what you do, Diane. So, but I do want to draw attention real quick to Girls Get IT, because I think that program deserves a lot more oxygen. So I'll give you like 10 seconds, 10 minutes if you really want to talk about
it. Right now, Girls Get IT?
Yeah.
So, right, thank you. So the Girls Get IT event started 3 years ago. It was us targeting underserved populations. And of course, women are underserved in IT, but even the underserved populations within women in IT. I'll tell you more about the Institute next week, but we do serve, or 2 weeks. We do serve a month. Okay, sorry. We do serve all 4 of the East Valley colleges, and we respond to IT demand from industry. We provide that non-credit training or credit training for our students that lead to employment and certification. And so with that, we thought, outreach and recruitment for women in STEM was the best way to go, and to bring them into these programs. We served the first year 135 9th and 10th, 11th and 12th grade students from around the East Valley. Adobe Mountain. We even had some people come from Casa Grande and Tucson when they heard about it. The next year we had it virtually because of COVID. We were still able to get 100 participants and keep that momentum going. But last year was our most successful year, where we served 200 counselors and women in IT, as well as it extended all the way to Cartwright School District around the valley. And what we tried to do is provide a whole bunch of different types of workshops. The students don't know what they don't know. And me being a woman in IT for 20 some years, I told these young women, I said, if you don't want to do IT, that's okay, but you deserve the right of refusal. You need to know what you're refusing, and you need to learn. And so we had 9 workshops. We had Apple flew in, Microsoft flew in, we had nanotechnology, we had great workshops. Freddie Lavardi from the Spare Parts movie came, he was our keynote speaker. We had it at the hotel across the street here, the Delta, and we had the workshops here at the Institute, which, by the way, you're all welcome to come and tour and see. And I'm happy to have a meeting here, Bob, you know, if that works out for the team here. But after the workshops, they have a lunch. There's a resource vendor fair where all different types of industry and education comes in to talk to the girls. This is my favorite part. We bring in 60 professional women. We had 60 professional women in IT come in and mentor. We did an entire facilitation mentor session with the girls. They were able to sit one-on-one and learn about careers and learn about the stories of how these women got in and their best advice. And we also have a panel. After that, we invite the professional women for the girls they get on the bus, they go back to their respective schools, and we bring the women together to have a think tank on how they can support these girls in the future. Can they do internships? Can they tour the company? Can they be guest speakers? Can they provide scholarships? What can they do? And we take that data and we build on it the next year. So the great news was we were able to not just have 11th and 12th grade students this year, but we went all the way down to 8th grade. And we're hoping to go down to 6th grade the next year. And our goal is to get to the 4th grade students. And I'm actually working on a dissertation with women in STEM. And 7th grade seems to be that key area. However, we're noticing that patterns are started with students all the way down to 4th grade. So that's why we want to target that population. So thank you, Bob. And I just want to say the relationships that you and Sally and your team build are evident with all the people that I meet through you. And you're a blessing. And thank you very much for your partnership.
Stay connected to Mesa Chamber social media, email newsletters, Monday morning message, and mesachamber.org to always know what's happening at your Mesa Chamber.